No eyes. Alice knew she wasn't what the skeleton wanted. There were no eyes in his head. How could he tell her she was beautiful with no eyes in his head? She needed that affirmation like she needed a glass of water in the morning. She wanted to gulp him down, wanted to rub her hands across his sockets, inside, up, and down the barren bone. She never thought she would feel that way about a skeleton, but he was something. Reminded her of a husband she once had. She wondered why her husband had not come back the way this stranger did. She was not what this one wanted. He had come looking for a woman long moved on. A picture in the skeleton's fingers, dirt-stained and rotting at the edges. The woman not as beautiful as Alice. Her face too long, her body too thin, as if she were starved for attention, as if the skeleton beneath her own skin had been trying to break through. Alice did what any woman would have done when the skeleton first knocked against her door. She asked him in for tea. The tea she had was old, loose-leaf brittle in their cups, but the water revived it. She stirred in honey and placed his mug before him at her table. This, she thought, is how a true lady behaves. She had dressed that morning in a lace gown. She couldn't sleep in it. The silk itched as she tossed and turned in the night. But it was nice in the cool October morning air. It was nice against the glass of her bedroom window as she stood and let the wind in through a mesh screen. The skeleton said nothing about the gown. Of course not. There were no eyes in his head. When he had knocked, a tinny knock, on her door that morning, he'd had this photo in his fingers. No, she had said. I never knew her. She had the house before me. The skeleton stood there with his sad bones, as if he slouched to the bad news. But please, come in for tea. She grabbed his finger bones. They crunched. She loosened her grip, pulled him into the house, his bones powdery and gritty and yellowed in the lighting. Peach tea she poured for him, and he didn't touch it. What would a skeleton do with a woman? Alice couldn't imagine. He would not eat the meal she could cook for him. He could not touch her hair and tell her she was beautiful. He could not fix the bathroom leaks, or start the fires, or tend to her night urges, or hold her when she sweated herself to a fevered sleep. These were things her husband had done, things she had done for her husband. Together they had held a life in their hands which satisfied no one. There, she said to the skeleton, I've said it. I was not satisfied. What can you do for me? Nothing that he could do. That's the way I want it. I want it with a skeleton who could do nothing for me but let me touch his sockets. The skeleton moved his jaw, but no sound came out. He moved his hand across the table as if searching for her. When she clasped her hand atop his hand, his bones shook with a shiver. She did not squeeze the hand in hers. She let go. She drank his tea with honey. She led him to the door and pushed his bone body out onto the porch. She could do nothing for him. She was not what he wanted, with those knot eyes in his head, with the bones exactly where man bones always were, all the same. And in her gown, she felt the breeze on her skin like a kiss from lips that belonged to her, like a kiss from the lips on her own face. Skeletons had no lips, and even if they did, she did not think they would suit her anymore.